The search for a serial bomber. 4 explosions, 2 people dead, and Austin residents are on edge. We're going to have the latest in the investigation from Austin. Plus, an officer shot 7 times takes his first steps. How staying positive has helped in his journey to recover.
And it is his dream to visit every single state in the nation. And his trip to Texas, how it's become even more memorable thanks to the help of a former president. The news starts right now.
First, confusion and fear. Neighborhoods in Austin are left terrorized after a 4th explosion this month.
And we have team coverage on what police are calling the work of a serial bomber, from how residents are responding after this latest attack to how this bomb was different from the others.
First, let's go to Larry Seaward. He is live from where last night's explosion happened. So, Larry, where do things stand right now in this investigation?
Rika, they're calling this one random. We saw FBI and ATF agents going door to door looking for evidence, asking for surveillance video from people at home, in some cases afraid to leave. Warned by FBI, ATF, and police to stay home until given an all clear.
It's heartbreaking and a little scary.
Homeowners in this Southwest Austin community, families, did.
My husband's, saying, don't take your dog on a walk. Don't take your baby on a walk. Don't really leave the house until we know that it's safe and there aren't wires. And
Austin's 4th explosion in a month, a tripwire bomb planted along a street where kids play, near paths where people walk, more than frayed nerves.
Before this, we had a idea that it might be in East Austin, just centered perhaps against some people. Now it's almost like a random occurrence.
For Houston's Byron Beasley, who rents here to be close to his job at the state treasury.
My goodness, what's going on in this area?
Everything he assumed about his security changed.
You wonder, how can people be so blatantly cruel? And I told the FBI and the ATF guy, you need to find somebody. Of course, they know this, but this is just too strange. It's not a good way to live. Makes you very nervous.
Jessica Yannick, mom to a 4-month-old.
to have something so scary come to my front door, it kind of is eye-opening.
Just hopes it ends soon. Expected to arrive this evening, bomb text from the Houston Police Department. They will join some 500 federal agents here already working to catch this serial bomber. We are live in Southeast Austin tonight. Larry Seaward, KHOU 11 News.
I can't imagine how those residents in those neighborhoods are feeling. So scary. Thank you, Larry.
And this bomb is different from the other 3 that exploded earlier this month in Austin. So what do we know now about this latest one? Jessica Borg live downtown getting that answer. Jess?
Jason, this device is described as more sophisticated. As was said, the 4th bomb in 1 month. 2 people killed, 4 more wounded. The latest victims, 2 men in their 20s riding their bicycles last night in a different neighborhood than where the previous explosions took place. Authorities saying today that another major difference, the type of device used. The other bombs were packages left on people's doorsteps, and the victims appeared to be targeted. This latest bomb was triggered by a tripwire, a more technically sophisticated device, and the victims seem to be random. Now, they stepped on a fishing wire, perhaps, that detonated the bomb. Law enforcement officials calling their attacks the work of a serial bomber. They are encouraging the bomb maker or bomb makers to contact them if they want to communicate a message. Now, I spoke with a retired FBI agent who explains why.
Things occur by someone who is a sociopath and they are megalomaniacal. They have a need for the attention, and this is how they get the attention.
What we are imploring the community to do, if you see any suspicious object or item that looks out of place, do not even approach it, but instead call 911 and report that.
Now, there are hundreds of FBI agents in Austin right now working around the clock to solve this. Officials say they've already pursued many leads and have had persons of interest, but so far no suspects or clear motive have emerged. Much more coming up at 5 and 6 in live reports. For now, live downtown, Jessica Borg, KHOU 11 News. Jason?
Thank you, Jessica. And we will continue to bring you new details about the explosions in Austin, on air, online as always, and you can always find updates on our Twitter and Facebook pages.
Well, back at home and changing gears, it's not officially spring yet, but the weather sure has been heating up.
And Brooks, now we're seeing some storms pop up. So
Yes.
what does the radar look like for us?
Well, most of the rain for this evening will happen on the coastline. This is all thanks to our front that's brought in this drier air lingering on the coast and a little impulse riding up along the front. So we've got storms right now rolling into Matagorda Bay, also into Wharton County, ultimately Brazoria County, and if they hold together, Galveston County, that could produce gusty winds over 40 miles per hour, frequent lightning, even some hail is a possibility. If these hold together at this track and speed, it'll arrive in Pasadena shortly before 6 p.m., Bolivar Peninsula thereafter. Now, as for the storms, they're not very strong, but they are briefly featuring torrential rains. That could catch you off guard unless you're aware of it. So heads up 288 corridor, also 45 Gulf Freeway. This is what's going on. Front just offshore, a little impulse riding along the upper flow, and voila, storms. But right down the coastline, it looks beautiful. Guys, coming up, we'll talk about this 85-degree weather and what it means for the rest of our week.
All right, Brooks, thank you. A man and woman are charged with child endangerment for leaving a child inside a car as they ate at a nearby restaurant. This happened on FM 1960 near Kirkendall over the weekend. The windows were cracked, but when first responders found the 4-year-old, the child was unconscious and sweating profusely. Precinct 4 deputies say Brenda and Antonio Hurtado are each being held on a $1,000 bond. Well, today is the first day of a trial in a sensational murder-for-hire case that made national headlines last year.
And you may remember a well-known Montrose veterinarian and her boyfriend were accused of hiring a hitman to kill both of their exes. Valerie McDaniel ultimately committed suicide. Leon Jacob says he is still innocent. Stephanie Whitfield live at the courthouse with much more on this story. Stephanie?
Yeah, there were some delays this morning, so the trial didn't start until just after lunch. Right now, they're still trying to select a jury, but we're told that will happen by the end of the day so that opening arguments can start tomorrow. Now, according to prosecutors, Leon Jacob and his girlfriend, Valerie McDaniel, were both having trouble with their exes last spring. Now, I'll focus on Jacob's case since the well-known veterinarian took her life only weeks after her arrest. Jacob, a former doctor, had been charged with assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Investigators say that's one of the reasons he wanted to take her out. Well, it turns out the guy he allegedly hired was an undercover officer who was recording the conversation. Now, during the trial, the defense will be calling on linguistics experts to dive into what those tapes mean. Here's what defense attorney George Parnham and the victim advocate helping Jacob's ex-girlfriend told us before court today.
This whole issue relies on the recordings of conversations and what the words meant that were spoken by Leon to the undercover.
Well, this could have been a capital case, you know, for all intents and purposes. That was the goal. No ifs, ands, or buts. The goal was to eliminate not just her, but the other, you know, the ex-husband of Valerie as well.
Jacob's ex-girlfriend, the target of the alleged murder-for-hire plot, is expected to testify during this trial. We're told she's looking forward to it so she can finally put this behind her. Her goal for Jacob to spend the rest of his life behind bars. So we'll have to wait and see if that's what the jury decides. Guys, back to you.
All right, Stephanie, thank you so much.
A deadly accident could have a lasting impact on the future of self-driving vehicles.
What went wrong in Arizona that is forcing Uber to make some big changes.
And it is a gold rush for Astros fans for new gear that really shines. Will this stuff break the bank, though?
And Garth Brooks' rodeo closing show makes history. What record he broke on a night filled with amazing guest appearances.
And time to look at your drive times for the evening commute. Here they are.